The rain was coming down so hard that Dr. Alex couldn't see past his own front porch. He'd been living at the research station for 3 years now, and he'd never seen a storm quite like this one. The wind was howling like a wild animal, and the lightning was so bright it turned the whole sky white every few seconds. Alex had spent the evening working on his latest research project about alien plant life. He was getting ready for bed when he heard a strange thud outside his door. At first, he thought it was just a tree branch falling, but then he heard it again. This time it sounded different, almost like someone was knocking weakly on his door. "That's impossible," he said to himself. The nearest human settlement was hundreds of miles away, and nobody was supposed to be out in weather like this. The sound came again, and this time he was sure it wasn't the wind. Alex grabbed his flashlight and opened the door carefully. The beam of light cut through the darkness, and what he saw made his heart skip a beat. There, lying on his doorstep, was a girl, but she wasn't human. Her skin was silver, like moonlight on water, and it seemed to glow with its own soft light. Strange markings covered her arms and face, pulsing with a gentle blue glow that got brighter and dimmer in a steady rhythm. That looked like they were made from some kind of fabric he'd never seen before, all flowing in shimmer. The girl was unconscious, and when Alex touched her forehead, he pulled his hand back in surprise. Her skin was burning hot, much hotter than any human fever he'd ever felt. The glowing markings on her face were pulsing faster now, almost like a heartbeat that was going too fast. "Oh no," Alex whispered. He couldn't leave her outside in the storm. Whatever she was, whoever she was, she needed help. Alex was stronger than he looked, but carrying the girl inside was still difficult. She was taller than most humans, and her body felt strangely light, like she was made of different materials than people on Earth. He managed to get her to his couch and covered her with every blanket he could find. The girl's temperature was so high that Alex was worried she might die. He'd studied medicine before becoming a scientist, so he knew what to do for human fevers, but this was different. Her whole body was glowing now, not just the markings, and he could feel heat radiating from her skin, even through the blankets. Alex spent the next few hours trying to bring her temperature down. He used cool cloths on her forehead and gave her water whenever she seemed to wake up a little. The storm outside was still raging, but inside his small station, everything was focused on keeping this strange girl alive. Around midnight, her eyes finally opened. They were the most beautiful eyes Alex had ever seen, like looking into deep space filled with stars. She looked around the room with confusion, then focused on Alex's face. When she tried to speak, the sounds that came out were like music, but Alex couldn't understand a single word. "Hey, it's okay," Alex said gently. "You're safe now, I've found you outside in the storm." He kept his voice calm and soft, hoping that even if she couldn't understand his words, she might understand that he was trying to help. The girl tried to sit up, but she was too weak. Alex helped her lean back against the pillows, and she looked at him with those star-filled eyes. There was something in her expression that made Alex think she was trying to figure out if she could trust him. Alex remembered the translation device he used for his research. It wasn't perfect, but it might help them communicate. He brought it over and adjusted the settings, hoping it would work with whatever language she spoke. "Can you understand me now?" Alex asked, speaking clearly into the device. The girl's eyes widened when she heard the translated words. She spoke again, and this time the device translated her musical voice into words Alex could understand. "Where am I?" she asked. Her voice, even through the translator, sounded scared and confused. "You're at my research station," Alex explained. "I'm a scientist. I study plants and animals from other worlds. I found you collapsed outside during the storm. You were very sick." The girl closed her eyes and took a deep breath. When she opened them again, there was a sadness in them that made Alex's heart ache. "I am Zara," she said. "I come from the Luminari people. We live among the stars, far from here." She paused, and Alex could see that talking was still difficult for her. "I was running away from something, but I got lost. My body is changing, and I don't know what to do." Alex noticed that her glowing markings were still pulsing, but now they seemed to be following a different pattern. Sometimes they would glow very bright, and Zara would close her eyes and take sharp breaths like she was in pain. "What kind of change?" Alex asked. He was curious as a scientist, but more than that, he was worried about her as a person. Zara looked embarrassed. "My people go through something called the resonance. It happens when we are ready to find our life partner. But I am far from home, and there is no one of my kind here. If I cannot find someone who can connect with me during this time, I might become very sick, or worse." Alex didn't fully understand what she meant, but he could see that she was afraid. "How long do you have?" he asked. "I don't know," Zara said. "The resonance is different for everyone. It's maybe days, maybe weeks. But I can feel it getting stronger." As if to prove her point, her markings suddenly flared brighter, and she curled up in pain. Alex felt helpless. He was a scientist, but he'd never encountered anything like this. "Is there anything I can do to help?" he asked. Zara looked at him with surprise. "You would help me? Even though I am not human?" "Of course," Alex said without hesitation. "You're hurt and scared and far from home. That's all that matters." Something in Zara's expression changed. The fear was still there, but now there was something else too. Hope, maybe, or gratitude. "I do not understand why," she said. "But being near you makes the pain less. That should not be possible." Alex felt a strange warmth in his chest when she said that. He'd been alone at the research station for so long that he'd almost forgotten what it felt like to be needed by someone. "Then I'll stay close," he said. "We'll figure this out together." Outside, the storm was finally starting to calm down. But inside the small research station, something much bigger was just beginning. Alex didn't know it yet, but his life was about to change in ways he never could have imagined. And Zara, despite her fear and confusion, was starting to feel something she'd never experienced before, a connection with someone who was completely different from her, but who cared about her anyway. The night was far from over, and both of them could sense that this was just the beginning of something extraordinary. The next morning, Alex woke up to find Zara sitting by the window, watching the sunrise. Her silver skin seemed to catch the light in a way that made her look like she was made of starlight herself. The storm had passed, leaving the world outside, clean and fresh, but Alex could tell that Zara's personal storm was just getting started. "How are you feeling?" Alex asked, bringing her a cup of tea he'd made from some healing herbs he grew in his garden. Zara accepted the cup with a grateful smile, but Alex noticed that her hands were shaking slightly. "The resonance is getting stronger," she said. "Can feel it like a fire inside me, but it's not just heat. It's like my whole body is calling out for something, someone." Alex sat down across from her, studying her face with concern. The glowing markings on her skin were brighter than they'd been the night before, and they seemed to pulse in a rhythm that reminded him of ocean waves. "Tell me more about your people," he said. "Maybe if I understand better, I can help you figure out what to do." Zara's eyes grew distant, like she was looking at something far away. "The Luminari are very old," she began. "We've been traveling among the stars for thousands of years. We don't form relationships the way humans do. For us, finding a partner is about more than just love or attraction. It's about finding someone whose mind resonates with yours, whose thoughts and feelings match your own frequency. Like tuning forks," Alex said, remembering his physics lessons. "When you strike one, another one at the same frequency will start vibrating too." "Yes, exactly like that," Zara said, looking surprised. "How did you know?" "I'm a scientist," Alex said with a small smile. "I study how things work. But tell me more about the resonance. What's supposed to happen?" Zara wrapped her hands around the warm teacup, and Alex could see that she was trying to find the right words. When a luminari enters the resonance, their body and mind become very sensitive. They can sense the thoughts and emotions of others around them. They find someone compatible, someone whose mind frequency matches theirs. They form a bond that lasts their entire life. And if they don't find someone, Alex asked, though he was afraid he already knew the answer. "The energy builds up inside them with no way to release it," Zara said quietly. "Some go mad from the intensity. Others simply fade away, like a flame that burns to bright and consumes itself." Alex felt a chill run down his spine. "How long do you have?" "I don't know," Zara admitted. "The resonance is different for everyone. Some last days, others weeks. but I can feel it getting stronger every hour. As if to prove her point, her markings suddenly flared brighter, and she doubled over. Breathing hard, Alex moved to sit beside her, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder. The moment he touched her, something strange happened. The bright glow of her markings seemed to calm down, and Zara's breathing became easier. But more than that, Alex felt a warm sensation in his own chest, like sunlight spreading through his body. "That's impossible," Zara whispered, looking at Alex with wide eyes. "You're human. Shouldn't be able to affect my resonance." "Maybe," Alex said, "but I felt something too. When I touched you, it was like I could sense what you were feeling." He paused, trying to find the right words. "I could feel your pain, but also your relief when it got better." Zara stared at him for a long moment. "That shouldn't be possible," she repeated. "Humans don't have the brain structure for psychic connection. Your minds work differently than ours." "Maybe our minds aren't as different as you think," Alex suggested. "I've always been good at reading people's emotions, understanding how they feel, even when they don't say anything. My colleagues used to joke that I was practically psychic." Over the next few days, Alex and Zara spent most of their time together, and the strange connection between them grew stronger. Alex found that he could sense Zara's moods even when she was in another room. When she was happy, he felt lighter. When she was in pain from the resonance, he felt an ache in his own chest. Zara was amazed by this development. "I've never heard of anything like this," she told Alex one evening, as they sat together watching the stars. "In all the stories of my people, there's never been a cross-species connection during the resonance." "Maybe we're the first," Alex said. "Maybe this is evolution at work, finding new ways for different species to connect." Zara turned to look at him, and in the starlight, her silver skin seemed to glow with its own inner light. "Are you afraid?" she asked. "Of what?" "Of what's happening between us. Of the unknown." Alex thought about it for a moment. "I'm curious," he said finally. "As a scientist, I want to understand it. But as a person, I'm not afraid. Whatever this is, it feels right." The connection between them was growing stronger every day. Alex found that he could sometimes catch glimpses of Zara's thoughts, especially when she was emotional. He saw flashes of her homeworld, a beautiful planet with silver trees and purple skies. He felt her loneliness, her fear of being alone in the universe, her growing affection for him. Zara was experiencing the same thing. She could sense Alex's thoughts and memories, his dedication to his work, his quiet loneliness at the research station, and his genuine care for her. She was amazed by how kind and curious he was, how he approached everything with wonder instead of fear. But with each passing day, the resonance was getting stronger. Zara's episodes of pain were becoming more frequent and intense. Her markings would flare so bright they lit up the entire room, and she would curl up in agony until Alex touched her and somehow made it better. "I'm worried about you," Alex said. One morning, after a particularly bad episode, "This is taking a toll on your body." "I know," Zara said weakly. "But I don't understand what's happening. The connection we have is helping, but it's not completing the resonance. There's something missing." Alex had been thinking about this too. He'd been studying everything he could find about psychic phenomena and neural connections. "Maybe," he said carefully, "the problem is that we're both holding back. We're afraid of what might happen if we fully open our minds to each other." Zara looked at him with understanding. "You're right. I can feel that you're keeping part of yourself closed off, and I'm doing the same thing.
Ow.
But what if we let go? Completely. What if we truly connect?" "I don't know," Alex admitted, "but I think we need to try. Because if we don't, you might not survive this." That night, they sat facing each other in the soft glow of Zara's markings. "Whatever happens," Alex said, "we'll face it together." Zara nodded, and for the first time since the resonance began, she felt truly hopeful. Maybe they were creating something new, something that had never existed before. A bridge between two different worlds, two different species, held together by something stronger than either of them had imagined possible. The real test was still to come. The decision to fully open their minds to each other wasn't something Alex and Zara made lightly. They both knew they were stepping into completely unknown territory, but Zara's condition was getting worse every day. The resonance was like a fire that was slowly consuming her from the inside out. "I'm scared," Zara admitted as they prepared for what they hoped would be the final step in their connection. Her silver skin was glowing so brightly now that Alex didn't even need to turn. On the lights in the evening, the markings on her face and arms pulsed with an urgent rhythm that made it clear they were running out of time. "I'm scared too," Alex said, taking her hands in his. "But I'm more scared of losing you." They decided to try the full connection that evening. Alex had moved his research equipment to create a comfortable space where they could sit facing each other. He'd spent hours studying brainwave patterns and neural activity, trying to understand what was happening between them from a scientific perspective. "I can feel your thoughts already," Zara said softly. "They're like whispers at the edge of my mind." "You're thinking about your sister." Alex blinked in surprise. He had been thinking about his sister who died in a transport accident 5 years ago. It was the reason he'd come to work at this remote research station, trying to escape from the memories and the pain. "How did you know that?" "I can see her in your mind," Zara said gently. "She had kind eyes, like yours. You blame yourself for what happened to her, but it wasn't your fault." Hearing those words from someone who could actually see into his thoughts was overwhelming. Alex felt tears he'd been holding back for years start to fall. "I was supposed to be on that transport with her," he said. "I stayed behind to finish a project. If I'd been there, maybe I could have saved her." Zara squeezed his hands. "You carry so much guilt, but I can see the truth in your memories. There was nothing you could have done. She wouldn't want you to blame yourself." As their connection deepened, Alex began to see into Zara's mind as well. He saw her homeworld, a beautiful place with silver trees that sang in the wind and cities that floated among the clouds. But he also saw her pain, the arranged bonding ceremony she'd run away from, and the pressure from her people to conform to traditions she didn't believe in. "You were supposed to bond with someone you didn't love," Alex said, understanding flooding through him. "His name was Keth," Zara said, and Alex could feel her sadness as if it were his own. "He's a good person, but we had no connection. Our families arranged it because it would be politically advantageous. Couldn't go through with it, so I ran away. But I never expected the resonance to begin while I was alone." Through their mental link, Alex experienced Zara's journey to his world. He felt her fear as she traveled through space, her desperation when she realized she was lost, and her relief when she found his research station. But more than that, he felt her amazement at the connection they'd formed. "This is impossible," Zara whispered, but she was smiling. "I can feel your thoughts as clearly as my own. Our minds are synchronizing." Alex was experiencing the same thing. It was like having a conversation without words, sharing emotions and memories as easily as breathing. He could feel Zara's curiosity about his scientific work, her fascination with human culture, and her growing affection for him. But as their connection grew stronger, so did the intensity of the resonance. Zara's episodes of pain became more frequent, and now Alex felt them too. When her markings flared with painful brightness, he experienced the same burning sensation. When she doubled over in agony, he felt the same overwhelming pressure in his chest. "It's like our nervous systems are becoming one," Alex said during a brief pause between episodes. "Your pain is my pain. Your joy is my joy." "Is that what bonding really means?" Zara asked. "Not just sharing thoughts, but sharing everything?" "I think so," Alex said. "But I also think we're creating something new, something that's never happened before between two different species." The most intense episode happened 3 days later. Zara's markings suddenly blazed with such bright light that Alex had to close his eyes. The pain that shot through both of them was unlike anything either I'd experienced before, but instead of pulling away from each other, they held on tighter. "I can feel your strength," Zara gasped as the pain reached its peak. "You're not just sharing my pain, you're helping me carry it." "I can feel your courage," Alex replied, his voice strained. "You're not giving up, even though this is the hardest thing you've ever been through." When the episode finally passed, they found themselves changed. The mental connection between them was no longer just glimpses and whispers. They could communicate without words, share complex thoughts and emotions instantly, and sense each other's presence even when they were apart. "I think it's working," Zara said with wonder. "Resonance is stabilizing. I can feel it settling into a new pattern." Alex could sense it too. Instead of the chaotic, painful pulses of before, Zara's markings now glowed with a steady, peaceful light. More importantly, he could feel through their connection that her body was no longer fighting itself. The resonance had found its target. "We did it," Alex said, hardly believing it was true. "We actually did it." But their celebration was interrupted by a sound that made both of them freeze. In the distance, they could hear the unmistakable hum of spacecraft engines. Someone was coming. "That's a Luminari ship," Zara said, her face going pale. "They've found me."
Alex
Felt her fear through their connection, and he understood immediately. Her people had come looking for her, and they wouldn't be happy about what they found. An interspecies bond was probably unthinkable to them, maybe even forbidden. "What do we do?" Alex asked. "I don't know," Zara admitted. "But whatever happens, we face it together. The bond between us is real now. Nothing can change that." As the ship grew closer, Alex and Zara stood together, holding hands. They had found something unprecedented. Something that challenged everything both their species believed about connection and love. They would have to fight to keep it. The real test was just beginning, but for the first time since Zara had collapsed at his door, Alex felt truly hopeful. They had created something beautiful together, something that proved love and connection could exist between any two beings who were willing to open their hearts to each other. Whatever came next, they would face it as one. The Luminar ship landed just outside Alex's research station with a soft hum that seemed to make the very air vibrate. Alex had never seen anything like it before. The ship was beautiful, made of the same silver material as Zara's skin, and it seemed to shift and flow like liquid metal in the sunlight. "They're here," Zara whispered, and Alex could feel her nervousness through their bond. "I can sense 3 minds aboard the ship. One of them is Keth. It's the one you were supposed to bond with," Alex asked, though he already knew the answer through their connection. "Yes," Zara said. "And the other 2 are from the High Council. They have the authority to take me back by force if necessary." Alex squeezed her hand. "They can't force you. To do anything you don't want to do will make them understand." The ship's door opened with a sound like wind chimes, and 3 figures stepped out. Alex's breath caught in his throat. They were all Luminari, tall and elegant, with the same silver skin as Zara, but their markings were different colors. The one in front had golden markings that pulsed with authority, while the other 2 had blue and green patterns that seemed to shift like living tattoos. The golden-marked Luminari stepped forward, and when he spoke, his voice carried easily. "Across the distance, Zara of the Silver Dawn, you have been found. Return to the ship immediately." "That's Council Leader Thane," Zara said quietly. "He's very powerful and very traditional. He doesn't like change." Behind Thane, Alex could see a younger Luminari with silver and blue markings. Even from a distance, Alex could sense the sadness radiating from him. "That must be Keth," he said. "Yes," Zara confirmed. "I can feel his pain. He's hurt, but not angry. He's a good person who got caught up in other people's expectations." The third Luminari, a female with green markings, stepped forward and spoke in a voice that seemed to resonate inside Alex's mind. "Zara, we have come to retrieve you. The bonding ceremony with Keth has been postponed, but it must still take place. You cannot run from your responsibilities." Alex felt Zara's fear spike, but also her determination. "I'm not running anymore," she said, stepping forward. "I've found my bondmate." The 3 Luminari turned their attention to Alex for the first time, and he felt the weight of their psychic examination. It was like being looked at through a microscope, every thought and feeling laid bare. Alex tried to stay calm, but he could feel them probing his mind, testing the connection between him and Zara. "Impossible," Thane said, his golden markings flaring with disbelief. "You have bonded with a human? This is an abomination against our most sacred traditions." "It's not an abomination," Zara said, her voice growing stronger. evolution. Alex and I have created something new, something that shows love and connection can exist between any two beings who are compatible. Keth stepped forward, and Alex was surprised to see that his expression wasn't angry, but curious. "I can sense the bond between you," he said to Zara. "It's unlike anything I've ever felt before. It's beautiful." "Keth," Thane said sharply, "do not let sentiment cloud your judgment. This human has somehow manipulated Zara during her vulnerable state. The bond cannot be real, but it is real," Alex said, finding his voice. "I can prove it to you." Female luminary who Zara had told him was called Vera, stepped closer. "You are human," she said, her voice filled with skepticism. "Humans do not have the neural capacity for true psychic bonding. What you think you feel is merely infatuation." "Then test us," Alex said boldly. "Use whatever methods you have to. Determine if our bond is genuine." Thane's golden markings pulsed with surprise. "You would submit to psychic examination? You understand that if the bond is false, the process could damage your mind permanently." Alex felt Zara's fear for him through their connection, but he also felt her love and support. "I understand," he said, "but I also know what we have is real. I'm not afraid of the truth." Vera stepped forward, her green markings beginning to glow brighter. "Very well. But know that this examination will reveal everything. Every thought, every emotion, every connection between your minds will be laid bare for us to see." "I'm ready," Alex said, and he meant it. The examination was unlike anything Alex had ever experienced. Vera's consciousness seemed to flow into his mind like water, exploring every corner of his thoughts and memories. He felt her surprise when she discovered the depth of his connection with Zara, the way their minds had truly synchronized during the bonding process. Through Vera's examination, Alex could also feel her probing Zara's mind, testing the strength and authenticity of their bond. He sensed her amazement as she discovered that their connection was not just emotional, but it actually created new neural pathways in both their brains. "This is extraordinary," Vera said, pulling back from the examination. Her voice was filled with wonder. "The bond is not only real, it's unlike anything in our recorded history. They have created a new form of consciousness that encompasses both minds while maintaining individual identity." Keth stepped forward, his blue markings pulsing with interest. "What does this mean for our people? For all our people?" "It means," Vera said slowly, "that we may have been wrong about the limits of connection. If bonding can occur between species, if consciousness can bridge the gap between different forms of life, then the possibilities are endless." But Thane's golden markings were pulsing with anger. "This is heresy," he said. "Our traditions have guided us for thousands of years. We cannot abandon them because of one anomalous occurrence." "But what if it's not anomalous?" Alex asked. "What if this is the next step in evolution for both our species?" "Impossible," Thane said. "I will not listen to this nonsense. Zara, you will return with us and fulfill your obligation to Keth. This human has corrupted your mind with false promises." That's when Keth surprised everyone. "No," he said firmly. "I release Zara from her obligation to me. You cannot do that." Thane said, his markings flaring with shock. "I can, and I do," Keth said. "I have felt their bond through the examination. It is pure, strong, and genuine. What Zara has with Alex is what I hope to find with her, but we both know it was never there between us. I will not force someone to bond with me when they have found their true match." Vera nodded slowly. "Keth speaks wisdom. The bond between Zara and Alex is real and powerful. But more than that, it represents something new, something that could benefit both our peoples." "How?" Thane demanded. "Think about it," Vera said. "If consciousness can bridge species, if love and connection can transcend the boundaries between different forms of life, then we are no longer limited by our own kind. We can form alliances, share knowledge, create understanding between peoples who have never been able to communicate before." Alex felt a surge of hope. "There's more," he said. "Through our bond, I've learned about a threat that's coming. Something that could destroy both our civilizations." "What threat?" Thane asked, his skepticism warring with curiosity. Zara has seen it in her people's ancient records, Alex said. An enemy that feeds on psychic energy that has been systematically destroying civilizations across the galaxy. The only way to fight them is with combined consciousness, with bonds that are stronger than they can break. Vera's green markings pulsed with understanding. The Devourers, she whispered. We thought they were just legend. They're real, Zara said. And they're coming. Alex and I together are stronger than either of us alone. If we can teach others to form these bonds, to create connections between species, we might have a chance to stop them. For a long moment, the only sound was the wind blowing across the research station. Then, slowly, Thane's golden markings began to pulse with a different rhythm. You are asking us to change everything we believe about bonding, about consciousness, about the nature of connection itself?
Yes,
Alex said simply. Because sometimes change is the only way to survive. Thane looked at Zara, then at Alex, then at the obvious bond between them. Finally he nodded. Very well. You have given us much to consider. The bond between you will be recognized by the High Council, but only if you agree to help us understand. This new form of connection, will you teach others? Yes, Alex and Zara said together, their voices perfectly synchronized. The crisis was over. But Alex and Zara both knew that their real work was just beginning. 6 months had passed since the Luminary ship had landed at Alex's research station, and the small outpost had transformed into something neither Alex nor Zara could have imagined. What had once been a lonely research facility in the middle of nowhere was now a bustling center of learning and discovery, home to beings from multiple worlds, who had come to study the unprecedented bond between a human and a Luminary. Alex stood on the observation deck of the new building they'd constructed, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of purple and gold. The view was different now. Instead of empty wilderness, you could see gardens where Luminary plants grew alongside Earth flowers, creating combinations of beauty that neither world had ever seen before. The Council's message came through today, Zara said, joining him on the deck. Her silver skin still glowed with its inner light, but now the markings that had once pulsed with pain and uncertainty showed a steady, peaceful rhythm that matched Alex's heartbeat. They've officially approved the interspecies bonding program. Alex smiled, feeling her joy through their connection as clearly as if it were his own. That's wonderful news. How many couples have applied? 17 so far, Zara said, leaning against the railing beside him. 3 human Luminary pairs, 6 human Centauri pairs, and 8 mixed groups from the other species that have heard about our work. It still amazed Alex how quickly word had spread throughout the galaxy about what they'd accomplished. Apparently, the loneliness and longing for deeper connection wasn't unique to humans and Luminary. Beings from dozens of different worlds had reached out, curious about the possibility of forming bonds across species lines. Dr. Chen, Zara, a voice called from behind them. They turned to see Dr. Riley, one of the human scientists who had joined their research team, approaching with a datapad in her hands. The latest test results are back from the Tokyo Research Facility. Alex and Zara had been working with scientists across multiple worlds to understand exactly how their bond worked and whether it could be replicated safely. The process was slow and careful because they all knew that one mistake could set back interspecies relations by decades. What did they find? Alex asked. The brain scans are remarkable, Dr. Riley said, her voice filled with excitement.
no idea that.
Bonded pairs aren't just sharing thoughts and emotions. They're actually developing new neural pathways that didn't exist in either species before. It's like they're evolving in real time. Through their bond, Alex could feel Zara's fascination with this news. As a scientist himself, Alex was amazed by the implications. Are you saying that bonding is actually changing us on a biological level? That's exactly what I'm saying, Dr. Riley confirmed. The bonded pairs are developing enhanced problem-solving abilities, improved emotional intelligence, and most remarkably, they seem to be naturally resistant to the psychic attacks we've been detecting from the outer rim. That last part made both Alex and Zara pay closer attention. The threat Zara had warned about, the entities that fed on psychic energy, had been detected by long-range sensors moving closer to inhabited space. The bonded pairs represented the best hope anyone had found for defending against them. How are the new trainees doing? Zara asked. Better than we hoped, Dr. Riley said. The meditation techniques you've developed are helping them learn too. Open their minds safely. We've had 3 successful preliminary bonds this week, and none of the negative side effects we were worried about. Alex remembered how frightening it had been when he and Zara first opened their minds to each other completely. They'd had no guide, no safety protocols, just desperation and trust. They could offer other couples a safer path to connection.
Speaking
of the trainees, Zara said, Keth wanted to speak with us after dinner. He thinks he might have found a compatible partner. Alex smiled at that news. Keth had been one of their most dedicated students, working tirelessly to understand interspecies. Bonding despite the fact that it meant giving up his traditional way of life, he'd become a good friend to both Alex and Zara, and they both wanted to see him find the same happiness they'd discovered. Who is it? Alex asked. One of the human researchers, Zara said. Dr. Martinez from the linguistics team. Keth says they've been working together on developing new translation protocols. He's been feeling something he's never experienced before. That's wonderful, Alex said.
Pro-species.
Bonding seems to work best when people are already working toward a common goal. That evening, the 3 of them sat in the common area of the research station, which had been expanded to accommodate beings of different sizes and environmental needs. Keth looked nervous, his blue and silver markings pulsing with uncertainty. I've never felt anything like this before, Keth admitted. When I'm working with Dr. Martinez, it's like our minds naturally want to connect. But I'm afraid, what if I'm wrong? What if I'm just projecting what I want to feel because I've seen how happy you 2 are? Alex and Zara exchanged a look through their bond. They'd been asked this question many times by hopeful couples. The only way to know for sure is to be honest with her, Alex said. Tell her what you're feeling. If she's experiencing the same thing, you'll know. And if she's not, Keth asked, then you'll have been brave enough to open your heart. Zara said gently. That's never a mistake. Even if it doesn't lead where you hope. Keth nodded, his markings settling into a more determined pattern. You're right. I'll speak with her tomorrow. Later that night, Alex and Zara lay together under the stars, feeling the gentle pulse of each other's thoughts and emotions through their bond. The luminary ship that had once seemed so threatening was now a permanent part of their little community, serving as a bridge between worlds. Do you ever wonder what would have happened if you hadn't collapsed at my door that night? Alex asked. Sometimes, Zara said. But then I remember that the universe has a way of bringing the right people together at the right time. I was lost and afraid, and you were lonely and searching for purpose. We both needed exactly what the other could provide. Now we're helping others find the same thing, Alex said. It's bigger than that, Zara said, her voice filled with wonder. We're not just helping people find love. We're showing the galaxy that connection is possible between any beings who are willing to open themselves to it. We're proving that diversity makes us stronger, not weaker. Through their bond, Alex could feel Zara's vision of the future. A galaxy where different species work together as naturally as breathing, where the barriers between worlds existed only in memory, where the approaching threat would find not scattered, isolated civilizations, but a united front of connected consciousness. The first wave of devourers will reach the outer colonies in 3 years, Zara said quietly. But by then, we'll have hundreds of bonded pairs across dozens of worlds. They won't be facing isolated minds they can easily consume. They'll be facing a network of connected consciousness that spans the galaxy. Alex squeezed her hand, feeling through their bond the absolute certainty that they would succeed. Not because it would be easy, but because they'd found something worth fighting for. They'd found love that transcended every boundary imaginable, and they'd shown others that the same thing was possible for them. Whatever comes, Alex said, we'll face it together. Always together, Zara agreed. Above them, stars shone with the light of 1,000 worlds. And on each of those worlds, beings were learning that they were no longer alone. The universe was vast and sometimes frightening, but it was also full of possibilities for connection that no one had ever imagined before. And it had all started with one desperate, lost girl collapsing at the door of one lonely scientist who decided that helping a stranger was more important than his own safety. Sometimes the smallest acts of kindness could change everything.